Heartbreak time. Yeah, it's Friday night in the summer in the project, so you know they blasting music. But I'm gonna try still and talk over it, you know. I just finished watching Straw, and it was good, y'all. It really was, but I feel like I wasted my tears, and Tyler Perry was playing with our emotions because, you know, you feel bad for someone that's struggling with a child. If you were just struggling by yourself, I have no sympathy for you. But, you know, she had a daughter, and so the movie starts off with, you know, her daughter has headphones because, you know, people blasting music, whatever, and they're in poverty, they're sharing a bed, and they're like in this one bedroom, looked like it might have been a studio, you know, and she's behind in rent. They don't really say why, because it's like, okay, you're working, so I don't know. They never really said why, but she was facing eviction. The landlord warned her, like, you know, if you don't give me my money, I'm putting your shit out in the street, you know. So she's like, can you tell him to turn down the music so my daughter could go to sleep? She like, why? He pays his rent. Which is true, like, you know. So, but you know, in the beginning of the movie, she takes her daughter to school, and so the principal kind of gives her a weird look. So when you're watching it, you're not really sure why the principal gives her a good look. So she's going through a lot. She gets to work, and the supervisor is really nasty to her. She clocks in, the line is long. She's telling the lady, this is the part that I was confused at, because I know every state is different. And I remember when I had WIC and I was able to get anything I want, and nobody ever told me you gotta put shit back. So as a mother myself, I kind of understood. She's like, bitch, what the fuck you ate? She's like, oh, you can't get these items with WIC. And it's like, as a mother, single or not, you should understand the struggle a little bit. Like, so that part of the movie I didn't really understand. Like, as a woman and as a black woman, you should just understand that these are the items. I feel like in that moment, she should have told her, hey, I'm gonna let it slide this time, but just to let you know, X, Y, and Z. But I guess I don't know if the WIC is different in every state, but I know in New York, they're not really that strict with stuff. I guess it depends on what's doing cashier, you know. So then the school calls, and you know, this is the part where I get really emotional, is the principal, you know, ACS and everything, and the teacher's like, you know, they're gonna take her daughter away, and she's like, please, she has seizures, you know, I'll get the money. This is the red flag. Her daughter was like, oh, if she don't have lunch money, she's gonna get teased. And it was the $40 for lunch money was just so important. And I'm like, why is it so important? Like, that was kind of like the red flag of the ending. It was a very good twist. So everything is just hitting her. So she ends up, this is all in one day, so she ends up getting a ticket, and it's pouring rain, and the cop, white guy, he like throws a cup of punch at her car, and he's like calling her a bitch and stuff. And then her license and registration is expired. It's just a lot going on. So then she gets her car towed, and then the supervisor, by the time she gets back, because she got back home and her stuff was out on the lawn, you know, because the landlord was like, which is illegal, by the way. Just to, I wanted to really, there's a few things about the movie that's very fictional, and this is why I love to hate and hate to love Tyler Perry, because he does that a lot. And I understand he's a writer, he is like a fictional writer, whatever. I don't know what he really considers himself, but they cannot put your stuff out on the street. It is illegal, right? Anybody who watches Judge Mathis, and yes, he is a real judge, people who that has happened to, they were able to sue and they won every time. So I just wanted to stress that, because a lot of people might be watching this movie and they'll believe stuff, because we're all guilty of watching TV and believing it as, you know, some point in time, you know. Like college, I was just thinking about the other day, like college TV did a good job with making it look undesirable for me. And so when I finally visited a college with a dorm, I was not interested. You know, so TV has kind of a good way of showing things that's not, sometimes it is true and you'll believe TV over somebody telling you. So I just wanted to say that they cannot put your stuff out on the lawn. But she gets this ticket and it's raining, and she's like, why you put my daughter's medicine out in the street? It was just really sad. And her daughter made a thing for her science fair project. That's another thing, they don't even do science fair projects anymore. But he threw that in there. It is what it is. And so she gets to the bank, and all she wanted to do was cash it, right? Because her car is towed, so her ID and everything was in her car, and it got towed. So she wanted to cash her check, pay the $40 for whatever, and pay the rent, have a place to stay, you know. So she needed her check, you know. She gets fired because she came back 2 hours late, and he was just an asshole. But before all of that, he wasn't gonna give her check. He said, I'ma mail it, just to be an asshole. She's like, no, I need my check today, like, you know, whatever. So he's like, no, I'ma mail it. So somebody comes and robs him, and so she gets the courage to defend herself and her supervisor, and she shoots the robber dead. So instead of the supervisor saying, oh, thank you for saving my life, this guy is like, oh, he knew your name, which he didn't. He did not know her name. Her name tag was on her uniform. So luckily she had a true friend at the job, at the store, and she was like, no, she's not like that. She's not gonna set up no robbery. Like, she's, you know, that's not who she is, you know, or whatever. So you know, that was going around, that, you know, she set up the robbery and this and that, and she shot her supervisor dead. So at this point, she's a serial killer, because serial killers too, right? So shoots her supervisor dead because he was just, you would think at that moment, you know, he would be, well, thank you for saving my life. He's like, no, you going to jail. Da 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 da. He knew who you was, and da 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 da. You going to jail. So he hate her. So he's automatically assuming the worst. As he's calling 911, she shoots him dead. So after that, she gets her check. She's like, I need my check. So she took her check. She could have took the cash, but she took the check. That's the part, that's how you know, like, she was losing it or whatever. And so she takes her check, she goes to the bank. She doesn't have ID. The lady's like, I can't cash your check because you don't have ID. She's like, you know me, I've been in this bank before, you know, whatever. But that's how you know it wasn't all there with her, you know. At this point, She's holding everybody hostage, and she's afraid to come outside because the cop was like, the next time he see her, he gonna kill her. So she's holding them hostage for 12 hours. Her and the manager actually make a bond, played by Sherry Shepherd. And the detective Raymond, played by Tiana Taylor. She was excellent in this movie. They couldn't have picked a better team of people. The lieutenant is played by the man from Soul Food who plays Kenny Chadway. He was good. You know, it's such a good movie. And so as time progresses, her mother calls and she's like, the FBI is in my house. What they done did, what you done did, da da da. And then she reveals to her that your daughter is dead. She's been dead. She died last night, so the night before. So waking up her daughter to go to school and driving her to school and then coming up to the school, none of that happened. So to me, it's a little bit like a cliffhanger, because if she lied to herself about her daughter, popped up at a school and didn't even get a phone call, like all of that was in her head, folks, about them calling ACS on her and everything. All of that was in her head. Her daughter had died the night before from a seizure. And it's so sad because it's like, where was she when her daughter died? You know, so it's like, what type of mother is she really? That she didn't even, you know, where was she when her daughter died? She obviously was having, this is a case of she was having a psychotic episode, clearly. Her mental state was gone. The fact that she thought that she took her to school, and the phone call she got was about bills. It was not about her daughter's school. So she lied, left, was gone for 2 hours. So it's like, you lied so you could leave work for. So all my tears and feeling sorry for her went out the window once they said her daughter died, because it's like, you didn't take your daughter to school. You didn't. So it's like, if you lied about all of that, was she telling the truth about the eviction? Was she telling the truth about her stuff being out in the street? Was she telling the truth about the cop that was harassing her? Right? Because in the end, you know, Raymond arrests her, and the manager is like, oh, my daughter's dead, da da da. And the manager is like, I know. So the manager knew all along that her daughter passed, which is weird, because she was telling her, would you take care of my daughter? I don't have nobody, you know, which is sad because her mom was alive. But she's like, oh, they crazy and this and that. No, she was crazy, you know. And it's just sad. And I can't stress enough to mothers, this is a movie for mothers in general, single or not. Check on your people. Check on your friends who have kids, and even just women in general. We have to check on each other, you know. If somebody is stressed out, try to give them breathing space. Try to offer them help in some type of way. Try to encourage them to get out the house, you know. I don't know what to say. This is one of those movies that's just, yeah, what type of mother was she really? You know, so many questions. The way it ended was Detective Raymond arrested her, but it's like, if she lied about her daughter, like, she thought she took her to school and she didn't. She was already dead the night before. So, and you know, 12 hours had passed. She was, you know, in the bank wanting to cash her check because she needed to pay rent and stuff. So she shot 2 people. So that's murder, and then attempted robbery, armed robbery, and holding people hostage. That's a lot of crimes. But the fact that all of that happened, and she's like, for my daughter, but her daughter was dead the whole time, it really makes you see things in a different perspective. Like, you know, is she really a victim here? right? Because if she lied about her daughter, now the cop had confirmed that yes, she gave her ticket and all that stuff, right? So that happened, but her daughter had already passed away. That's the thing. Her daughter had passed away. Yes, she still, and they replayed it how she walked down the steps and, you know, had like an imaginary, she was imagining her daughter coming down the steps and she's taking her to school. And then she imagined the principal calling and she's coming up to the school. And that's the red flag in the movie, when the principal is like this, looking at her crazy. But when you're watching it, you're not thinking anything of it. I just got emotional, like, that bitch. That's why, you know, her daughter going to foster care, because they gonna call ACS on her. And she was explaining herself like, listen, we don't have any hot water, but I make sure she's bathed. You know, she doesn't eat because the medicine, she doesn't eat or whatever. When I try to give her something to eat, you know, so it was pretty sad. I cried a few times, but just the fact that her daughter was already dead, that changes the whole narrative. Got me fucked up. Like, and it just shows you mental health is key. You know, mental health is so important. And this lady, it wasn't just that she was a single parent. Her mental health was not good. You know, watch Straw, y'all, with Tahaja P. Henson. It is so good. I mean, it's just getting, Tyler Perry with the movies, he just keep getting better and better and better. Those are my thoughts.